A single missed step, a single careless moment, and the hunt is over before it began. Out here, every shadow could be shelter, or it could be the last thing you ever see. The hunt is not cruelty. It is the price the living pay to go on living. Fear is the oldest teacher in the wild, and the hunters are the ones who teach it. The early light can reveal paths, tracks, and movement across great distances. Dawn becomes a meeting point between nocturnal and daytime life. Leaves and grasses begin to stir as temperature differences create gentle currents. The morning breeze carries the scent of earth, vegetation, and distant water. The quiet beauty of dawn often hides the constant adjustments happening below. Distant hills and trees may appear unusually sharp in the cool morning air. For a short period, the activities of both worlds may overlap. As temperatures rise, heat haze gradually begins to soften the horizon. This transition makes sunrise one of the most dynamic times on the plain. For animals and plants alike, the return of visibility changes the balance of the landscape. The darkness that provided concealment slowly withdraws from every corner. Morning light brings greater awareness, but it also removes the protection of shadow. Across the savannah, every species responds differently to the rising sun. Yet the scene can still appear peaceful from a distance. Fresh air moves across the open country before the heat becomes intense. The atmosphere at sunrise often feels clearer than it will later in the day. Sunrise offers a brief window of exceptional clarity. Some begin their daily routines, while others prepare to rest after the night. Areas that felt hidden at night become open and exposed. Shade alters the soil temperature and the growth of nearby grasses. Life gathers around these structures in ways that may not be immediately obvious. The open grassland is connected to every tree, hollow and ridge within it. Grasses are built to survive repeated pressure. The savannah's beauty lies in repetition without exact sameness. Fields of grass may appear identical, yet no two patches develop in precisely the same way. Scale changes the meaning of the landscape. Each area carries its own mixture of height, density, and color. The savannah must be understood from more than one point of view. Changes in texture reveal differences in age, moisture, and use. The land becomes a vast pattern formed by countless individual plants. From above, these patterns resemble flowing currents across the earth. Many grow from their base, allowing them to recover after being cut or damaged. Resilience is built into the structure of the vegetation. Some grasses spread through underground stems, binding the soil together. Small zones of protection can have large ecological value. From within the grass, they become walls, pathways, and shelter. What seems flat from a distance may be deeply varied at ground level. Different strategies allow the grassland to endure uncertainty. This growth pattern helps the plains remain productive under constant use. Others release seeds that wait for favorable conditions. No single species carries the entire burden of survival. The shape of the land is often written in the pattern of its plants. They travel in a slow and steady stream, unbroken across the land. The herd sorts itself as it goes, the strong outside, the young within. They follow paths older than any of them, laid down by countless feet. They move together always, for to move alone is to invite the end. A ripple of alarm passes through the herd, and everybody tenses to run. The herd flows onward, reshaping with every step, yet always whole. They wind across the plain in a long and patient line. The herd moves as the wind moves the grass, all together, all at once. They cross the plain in loose ranks, feeding as they walk. A head lifts from the grass, ears sharp, body still. Something has been noticed. The herd goes rigid, all eyes fixed on a single point on the plain. One senses danger and freezes, and the whole herd freezes with it. A single lifted head is enough to still the entire herd. They lift their heads as one, staring hard at something only they can sense. They stare into the distance, motionless, weighing the threat. They stand frozen, reading the danger, deciding whether to bolt or stay. One head snaps up, then another, then all of them in a wave of alarm. The grazing halts, the watching begins, the plain holds its breath. Ears pricked, bodies still. They wait to learn if the danger is real. A warning ripples outward, silent and swift, and the herd draws tight. The herd stiffens, alert and ready, poised on the edge of flight. They drift across the open ground, a slow migration in miniature. In an instant, the grazing stops, and every head turns the same way. They keep close as they travel, drawing safety from the mass of the herd. A little bird balances on a swaying stem, light as the wind itself. A pair calls back and forth, keeping close across the distance. The clouds and the birds drift together across the endless blue. Two birds share the work of the nest, faithful to one another. The vast sky belongs to the wind and the wings that master it. The open air stretches on forever, and the birds are its only travellers. They raise their young together, a partnership renewed each season. The smallest birds flit through the grass, quick and bright and restless. Bound together, they face the wide world as a single team. They flit and hover and dart, too quick for the eye to follow. A pair perches close, quiet in one another's company. They move in quick, nervous bursts, always alert, always hungry. The birds ask nothing of the world but the open sky and the wind to fill it. They are small and swift and everywhere, the restless life of the plain. To watch them fly is to feel the pull of the sky in your own heart. A pair flies wing to wing, bound together across the open sky. And still they fill the air, wing over wing, as they always have. They mate for life and travel the world side by side. They belong to the air the way we belong to the ground. The pair moves as one, sharing the labour and the sky. Above the plain, the sky opens wide, and the birds fill it. In every wingbeat lies a freedom the earthbound can only imagine. They dart from stem to stem, never still for more than a moment. A tiny bird flashes through the air, gone before you can name it. The tiny ones fill the grass with movement and with sound. The smallest flyers are the busiest, forever in motion. The little ones gather in busy, chattering crowds. These animals need space to move and access to seasonal resources. They are gardeners, travelers, survivors, and builders of the ecosystem. A changing environment forces animals to make increasingly difficult choices. The resilience of nature is remarkable, but it is not unlimited. They carry energy and nutrients across the land. Even the strongest species can be pushed beyond its ability to recover. In reality, these giants depend on a fragile balance of land, water, and time. They shape vegetation through every meal. Every healthy herd is evidence that the ecosystem is still functioning. Every completed journey proves that ancient roots still connect the necessities of life. Day after day, they repeat the same essential routines. Without them, the landscape would be quieter, emptier, and fundamentally different. A mouthful of grass, a drink of water, or a few steps forward may appear insignificant. When routes are blocked, ancient patterns of movement can be disrupted. They create pathways through every journey. The loss of a water source can affect herds across a vast region. There is no single moment that defines survival. Some adapt, while others struggle to keep pace. Yet each ordinary action contributes to the survival of an entire living system. Their size may create the illusion of invincibility. Their existence is both ordinary and extraordinary. Their future is written in the condition of the grasslands beneath their feet. It is built gradually through endurance, caution, learning, and adaptation. Every successful birth represents hope for another generation. Together, these simple actions form the story of life on the plains. Their continued presence gives the savannah its distinctive character. Their lives connect distant places through movement. They are the wild's own heartbeat, fierce and unrelenting. Nothing belongs to the plain more fully than its hunters. The hunters carry their freedom the way they carry their strength as a birthright. The hunters are the wild-made flesh and set watchful upon the plain. They are at peace with the hard truths of their world. They are woven into the wild so deeply that neither can be told from the other. Their calm is not gentleness, but the confidence of the truly strong. Every sense they have is honed to a single purpose: to find and to follow. Their calm is unshakable, and it speaks of a deep and quiet strength. There is a serenity in the hunters that comes only with mastery. They carry a stillness at their core that nothing can disturb. They belong to the wild completely and ask for nothing else. They see and hear and smell the plain in ways we can only imagine. They are not creatures of the wild, they are the wild itself. Nothing rushes a hunter. The world simply waits. The hunters are the plain's truest children, shaped by it entirely. They meet the world with an ease born of their own power. There is a calm in them that only true power can bring. The hunters are at home in a world that offers them no comfort. They belong to the open wilds the way the wind belongs to the sky. Their senses reach far beyond ours, painting a world we cannot see. There is no separating the hunter from the wild that made it. They move through the world with the composure of creatures that fear nothing. The hunters are composed even in a world of constant danger. Across the savannah, the life of every tree is tied to the movement of light across the sky. Even during calm weather, the landscape is constantly exchanging heat, moisture and air. Together, weather and vegetation create the changing face of the African savannah. Trees absorb the warmth of the day and release it slowly as evening approaches. Beneath a canopy, the soil may remain cooler and softer than the exposed ground nearby. This small difference can determine which plants are able to survive through a dry spell. Even the oldest tree continues to respond to each new season. This hidden reserve supports roots, insects and smaller plants for a little longer. The contrast between sun and shade creates different conditions within only a few steps. Moisture can remain trapped beneath fallen leaves after the surrounding soil has dried. Long hours of sunlight allow leaves to produce the energy needed for growth and recovery. Their influence extends outward through shade, roots, seeds and shelter. Their branches interrupt the wind and reduce the force reaching the ground below. Sun, wind, clouds and rain determine the rhythm of growth and rest. Each canopy creates its own microclimate within the wider savannah. Scattered trees create pockets of stability across an otherwise demanding landscape. Leaves filter sunlight into shifting patterns that move with the air. Trees change the environment around them without ever leaving the place where they began. These daily temperature changes influence the life within and around the water. Warm, shallow water behaves differently from deeper, cooler water. Depth creates separate zones with different conditions. Light penetrates the upper layers, while deeper areas remain darker and more stable. Some life survives dry periods by waiting within the sediment. Even small pools can contain several distinct microhabitats. This hidden resilience allows temporary waters to support repeated cycles of life. The edge, surface, and bottom each support different forms of life. Seasonal pools are brief, but they are not unimportant. When water returns, dormant organisms may become active again. Their short existence can be enough for feeding, breeding, and migration. The surface may cool briefly at night before warming again after sunrise. Organisms must use the opportunity before the pool disappears. Wind can accelerate this process by carrying moisture away. Time becomes a resource wherever water is temporary. The return of rain can awaken a community that seemed to have disappeared. The savannah rewards those able to respond quickly to changing moisture. Mud at the bottom stores nutrients and the remains of earlier seasons. The savannah is reduced to shape, colour and movement at the edge of night. Rising heat weakens as the sun drops lower. The evening breeze moves through grass and leaves after the heat has passed. With every fading colour, awareness becomes more important. This contrast can make movement difficult to judge from a distance. Air that felt heavy at midday becomes lighter and cooler. The sky may remain bright while the ground has already fallen into shadow. The savannah releases the warmth stored in its soil throughout the day. Open grasslands darken more quickly than the sky above. The atmosphere becomes calmer, though the landscape remains active. During this brief period, the landscape holds a quiet and uncertain beauty. Every species responds to the approaching darkness in its own way. Tree canopies form dark patterns against the glowing western sky. The need to feed, drink or travel does not end with the daylight. The last sunlight touches the highest leaves before leaving the lower land. Silhouettes become more prominent as detail slowly disappears. Twilight extends the transition between day and complete darkness. Some animals seek open ground, while others move toward cover. Branches and trunks appear sharper as the background brightens behind them. Evening offers relief from heat, but brings reduced visibility. The horizon can remain visible long after the sun itself has vanished. We look into this world and, somewhere within it, we find ourselves what we take from this land, we carry quietly for the rest of our days. We came only to watch, and left having felt something we cannot quite name. The wild teaches without words, and its oldest lesson is patience. We are not the story here. We are only the ones lucky enough to see it. If this land has anything to say to us, it is simply this: endure and be still. Here, we learn that to belong is worth more than to conquer. There is a wisdom here that no book could ever hold. The wild reminds us that we, too, are only passing through. To witness all this is to be handed a gift we did not earn. Maybe the wild has nothing to teach us, and that is precisely the lesson. Perhaps the greatest wonder is simply that any of this exists at all. The land teaches that strength and gentleness were never meant to be strangers.